You're about to enter a century of darkness, fear, and discovery, a time when religion ruled more than kings, when heretics burned and the wise hid in silence, the 15th century. But what if I told you that much of what you've heard about this era is a lie? Today, you're going to uncover the greatest myths of the so-called Dark Century, distorted stories, buried truths, and secrets history chose to hide. Myth 1. Everyone thought the Earth was flat. Many imagine the 15th century as an age of ignorance and superstition, that sailors feared falling off the edge of the Earth. But that is a complete lie. Since the 3rd century BCE, the idea of a spherical Earth was accepted among scholars. Eratosthenes, for example, calculated the Earth's circumference using just shadows and math. During the Middle Ages, many European thinkers, even religious ones, knew the Earth was round. The Church didn't condemn this idea. In fact, it was taught in various universities at the time. What truly scared sailors like Columbus wasn't falling off the edge. It was the unknown, the real size of the ocean, the lack of food. The flat Earth myth was actually popularized much later by Enlightenment writers who wanted to portray the Middle Ages as a time of darkness, opposed to modern reason. It was a political and cultural trick, not real history. Myth 2. The Inquisition killed millions. The word Inquisition brings instant fear. Bonfires, torture, censorship, and rightfully so. But the idea that millions were executed is a distortion created much later. The Inquisition had many phases: medieval, Spanish, Roman, and yes, it caused real pain and persecution. But historical records analyzed by modern historians show the number of deaths was between 20,000 to 50,000 over centuries, not millions. The confusion mainly started with the Protestant Reformation, which used the image of the Inquisition as ideological ammo, and later films and books fueled the myth. The cruelty of the Inquisition wasn't just in the numbers, it was in how fear was used as social control. People were watched, reported by neighbors, interrogated without defense. Torture was legal, doubt was already guilt. Even if the death toll was lower than the myth claims, the terror people lived through was real. And maybe even worse, because it was silent and accepted. Myth 3. Witches flew on brooms and were all evil. The image of the witch flying through the dark sky, cackling in a pointy hat, that didn't come from the 15th century. It came centuries later, created by artists, writers, and propagandists. The real witch hunts looked very different. Widows, midwives, healers, women who used herbs or didn't fit the mold. Patriarchal society saw these women as dangerous, and all it took was a rumor, a failed harvest, or a strange illness, and someone was accused. The broom connection comes from rituals. Some hallucinogenic mixtures were applied using objects like brooms, leading to visions of flying. It was a world where science and superstition walked side by side, and anything different was punished by fire. Myth 4. 1492 was just the year America was discovered. When people hear 1492, they usually think of Columbus reaching America. But for those living at the time, 1492 was the end of the world. Biblical prophecies, astrological predictions, apocalyptic calculations, all pointed to that year. Many theologians believed 1492 was a divine sign. Some sects awaited Christ's return. Others feared total collapse. That same year, Spain expelled the Jews. Coincidence? Not at all. It was part of a spiritual cleansing they believed was needed before Judgment Day. Columbus's journey was even funded with gold taken from the expelled Jews. To many people of the time, discovering a new world meant opening a gateway to the end. Myth 5. People were completely ignorant. There's a common idea that everyone in the 15th century was dumb, superstitious, and submissive. But that's more modern elitism than truth. Knowledge existed. It was just restricted. Yes, there was widespread illiteracy, but also oral traditions, folk music, practical wisdom, healers, craftsmen, and peasants who understood the soil and the sky. People learned from nature, from their elders, from hands-on experience. What existed was a gap between official knowledge, controlled by the church and nobility, and the people's knowledge, often devalued. So it's not that the people were ignorant, it's that the elite said they were. And over time, that lie became official history. Myth 6. Alchemy was just nonsense. Alchemy is often seen as a bunch of lunatics mixing metals and casting magical spells. But in reality, alchemy was the cradle of modern science. Alchemists studied elements, searched for cures, tested substances. And yes, they believed in the spiritual side of matter too, because to them, everything was connected. Body, soul, cosmos. Many methods used in today's chemistry came from alchemy: distillation, extraction, preparation of medicine. Alchemy wasn't fraud. It was a genuine attempt to understand the world with the tools they had. But like anything that escapes the control of the powerful, it was branded as witchcraft or madness. So that the new science could rise as the savior, they had to erase the past. The 15th century was more than wars and crosses. It was a time of shadows, but also of transition. The world was changing. Lies became power, truth was hidden, and the myths that survived still shape how we see history today. Did you enjoy this dark dive into the past? Then leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Here, mystery never dies and history is never told completely.